Alright everybody, let's go ahead and make this Domino's pizza with the famous garlic butter crust. What's up everybody? Welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are going to be making something near and dear to my heart, and that is Domino's style pizza. A classic carry-out pizza that we all know and love, and that I ate plenty of when I was a kid playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 on my PS2. And we are going to be doing something a little different than a traditional pizza dough that normally just has flour, yeast, water, and salt. We are going to be adding sugar as well as olive oil to this dough, which is going to help it brown up and kind of be not really crispy, but brown up more along the edges and the bottom a lot quicker than just a traditional style pizza. So it gives it a nice texture and flavor. It's going to have that thick, sweet sauce that we all know and love from Domino's, as well as that cornmeal kind of bite and crunch on the bottom. So without further ado, let's dive into this recipe. Alright, so if you have one, go ahead and grab your stand mixer attachment and the dough hook. You don't need it, you can totally knead this pizza by hand, but I do recommend it. So for this recipe, I'm going to be using my gram scale to measure out my ingredients, but I will have the other measurements down below. So to 270 grams of warm water, you are going to add 5 grams of active dry yeast, then just give that a quick stir, and you can also add a pinch of sugar here, and just let this sit for 10 minutes until it becomes nice and frothy. You will know that your yeast is alive if it is doing this and forming a nice foam on the top. If it's not doing this, go ahead and throw it out. Now I'm just going to add this mixture to my stand mixer. I like to reserve a little bit, give it a little swirl, and then dump out all of that yeast into the bowl. Next, add in 30 grams of olive oil, and then follow that up with 35 grams of granulated sugar. Then you are going to add in 430 grams of all-purpose flour. There's no need to sift this, just go ahead and add it in. Finally, add in 12 grams of salt. Now I'm going to add my dough hook attachment and then just mix this on low for about 3 minutes, and the reason that we're doing this is to just combine the ingredients together. So just mix this on low for 3 minutes, and then we're going to bump that speed up on high and mix for an additional 4. Also keep an eye on your stand mixer or it will probably fall off the counter. And you will know when your dough is done when you can pull it and stretch it and it won't break. For those mixing by hand, it might take longer. Now lightly grease a bowl with olive oil and then just use your hand to kind of rub it around. Be sure to get all the sides so your dough doesn't stick to this while it is proofing. So don't come crying to me if your dough sticks. Now go ahead and add your dough to the bowl. It might be a little bit sticky, but that is perfectly fine. You want it to be like that. Cover with plastic wrap and let it proof for 30 minutes. In the meantime, we can go ahead and make our pizza sauce. So for this Domino's sauce, you are going to need tomato paste. This is really thick and concentrated and provides a lot of flavor. So add a 150 to 170 gram can of tomato paste. Follow that up with 150 grams of water, 10 grams of granulated sugar, 1 gram of salt, 10 grams of olive oil, 2 cloves of garlic that have been peeled, 1 gram of fresh ground black pepper if you're fancy, half a teaspoon of chili flakes, a 1/4 teaspoon of dried basil, followed up with a half teaspoon of dried oregano. And yes, I used my teaspoon measurement for that because my scale doesn't do well under a gram. So go ahead and give that a nice mix and then place that on your blender and just blend this until everything kind of comes together, but you do still want it to be relatively thick. But be sure to break up all of those garlic chunks, give it a shake if you need to, until it is nice and thick and looks like, well, Domino's pizza sauce. And if you don't have a blender, you can use garlic powder and just mix it with a spoon. But once it comes together, add it to a mason jar, throw the lid on it, and then we can set that in the refrigerator overnight. Alright, so after your dough has undergone its initial proofing, we can remove the plastic wrap, and then we're going to be using a wet hand to develop the gluten in here. So just reach under, stretch it until it's about to break, give your bowl a 1/4 turn, and just repeat this process for 4 stretch and folds. This is going to build strength in our dough, So once you have all 4 of those stretch and folds performed, we're going to cover this with plastic wrap once more and let it rest another 20 minutes. I actually prefer using this Reynolds plastic wrap because it's super easy to cut. Now is a good time to mention that I am going to be doing a Christmas special starting next week from the end of Thanksgiving all the way up until Christmas, so be on the lookout for that. We're going to have plenty of holiday recipes and I'm super excited about it. So I hope you guys are ready to get in the Christmas spirit with me. So once this is done proofing, you are going to flour a work surface, then just go ahead and spread it out with your hand large enough for your pizza to fit. Then we're going to slap our dough down on this pile of flour and then just cut this dough into even pieces. Yes, this dough makes 2 pizzas, so you can save one, but I'm going to use both of mine today. And I like to measure mine and make sure that they are completely even by using my gram scale. So if you want to, you can go ahead and patch this up where necessary. Each dough should be 380 to 400 grams. Now take one of your dough balls and we're going to shape this into a ball. So go ahead and fold 2 corners together and then fold the other 2 corners over that. Then we're going to just quickly flip this seam side down, and then using our hand just kind of use this rolling motion to roll it into a ball. Don't go too crazy with strength building here, but it should look something like this. Same process for the next one. We're going to hit that double fold again, then the double fold one more time, flip that on its seam side down, roll it into a ball, and you are good to go. Now go ahead and grease a baking sheet with olive oil and place both of your dough balls onto that baking sheet. This is going to prevent any stickage from occurring while they rest. Tuck them in with plastic wrap and let them rest for at least 4 hours in the refrigerator, but ideally overnight. Alright, so it's the next day and I'm going to let my dough balls proof for an hour and a half. For the garlic butter, add in 3 cloves of garlic to half a stick of butter, fry until it melts, remove the garlic once done. Thanks to the subreddit r/Domino's, I figured out that Domino's uses a mixture of mostly mozzarella with a little bit of provolone. So here I'm grating 200 grams of mozzarella with my cheese grater, and I could only find these slices of provolone, which actually worked perfectly fine. Just avoid pre-shredded cheese here because it won't melt properly, but we are adding 90 grams of provolone, breaking it up pretty finely. Give this a quick toss and then just set it aside. And you know that yellow stuff on the bottom of your Domino's pizza? That's actually cornmeal, or if you can't find fine ground cornmeal, I prefer this cornmeal mix. So go ahead and douse the top of your dough balls with some of this cornmeal mix. Just rub it around so it's evenly distributed. Then flour your work surface, or should I say cornmeal your work surface. Spread it out. Then carefully lay down your dough ball, trying not to degas too much of this dough. Now, shaping pizzas by hand for the first time can be a little bit intimidating, but I like to start by forming a circle around the dough with my knuckles and pushing this out really until it can't go any further. Then holding the pizza down with one hand, I like to flip one half of the pizza over and kind of sling it back. This is going to help stretch the pizza dough out all the way around. So do this in a circular motion until your pizza reaches a pretty stretched out form. Go ahead and pop any air bubbles in your pizza because it will result in an unpleasant appearance. Double check to make sure your pizza will fit on your pizza peel. Then you are going to flour or dust your pizza peel with cornmeal, and this will act as bearings and allow your pizza to slide freely. Immediately add your pizza dough to your pizza peel and add 5 tablespoons of your pizza sauce. Go ahead and spread this edge to edge with your spoon. Go ahead and add your cheese mixture. Do not add all of it. You are not going to need all of it. You just want to add enough cheese to where it's barely covering all of the red spots. Too much cheese will result in a goopy pizza that nobody likes. Go ahead and fill this up with some pepperonis and then add it to your oven and pizza stone that have been set to 500 or 550 degrees Fahrenheit and preheated for 45 minutes. Go ahead and cook that for about 7 minutes, and look at this, guys. You have a flawless Domino's pizza. don't be afraid to cook this pizza hard. It does need a lot of heat to go ahead and set up the middle, but I do prefer my pizzas a little bit darker, if I do say so myself. But you don't have to cook it this long. I went about 8 minutes, and let me tell you what, guys, it is absolutely phenomenal. Dylan wasn't in this video, but he and I both confirmed that this outperformed Domino's. Alright, so a follow up on that pizza, it actually blows Domino's out of the water. Like, the crust on this pizza is actually better than Domino's, which to me, Domino's is kind of known for their crust, the garlic butter crust. This was more like, it's more airy in a sense, but it's got that classic garlicky, salty flavor around the edge. But I don't know, something about the texture was just better to me. So besides that, with the cheese, you know, it kind of had the same flavor going for it. And one thing that I like about cooking pizzas at home over ordering one is that you can cook it how you like it. So I actually prefer my pizzas well done. I don't like them to be really greasy in the middle. So obviously you guys saw how I cook my pizza. And don't be afraid to cook these pizzas hard, because a doughy pizza like this really does need to be able to set up in the middle. Also, I did want to mention something kind of exciting that I'm planning on doing. So Thanksgiving is next week, and I'll probably film the day after that. But I'm planning on doing some sort of Christmas special kind of series. So I'm thinking that we're going to do a 12 recipes of Christmas series, where some days we might have 2 recipes in the video, and then others we might have 3, but in total we'll have 12 over the course between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So be on the lookout for that. I think it's going to be a really fun thing to film. So yeah, I'm excited to get into the holiday spirit, and I hope you guys are, because the holidays just have so much food going on with it, and it's really exciting, especially for me, because I love food, I love making food. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be fun and exciting, and that's what we're starting next week. And with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button down below, and consider subscribing to this channel if you like what you see. We're currently trying to get to 100 subscribers, and once we reach that mark, I will be doing some sort of giveaway and special video. So I will continue to produce these videos until then, and I will see you guys on the next one.